All right, so this resource is goformative.com. I chose this resource because it gives real-time assessment. So as students answered, you get data right away. You can also watch students as they're answering if they're doing a math problem and solving it. If they're drawing pictures or labeling, you can watch it and see how long it takes. You can see their screens no matter what device they're on, so that you can monitor as they're answering and intervene as it's going. It is a great tool for data-driven assessments, and I would use the video and this tool would be used with coworkers, but obviously the implementation would be for students within a unit, and you can use it for formative or summative assessments. Obviously, with the title Go Formative, it's meant for formative, but it could be used at the end of a unit as well. The standards this helps cover are the ISTE standard for teachers 2D to provide students with multiple and varied formative and summative assessments aligned with content and technology standards and use resulting data to inform learning and teaching, as well as the standard for coaches 2G, coach teachers in and model effective use of technology tools and resources to continuously assess student learning and technology literacy by applying a rich variety of formative and summative assessments aligned with content and student technology standards. So I'm just going to show you kind of how to get started. There's a lot of ins and outs of this, and you will need to set up an account. Once they come to the website goformative.com, and this does work on any device. I did implement it with my students, and it worked really well on the iPad as well, although they do have to rotate the screen. Sometimes it looks a little different. So up here in the right-hand corner, they're going to hit log in, and you can sign in with Google. If you have multiple accounts like I do, it's going to give you a selection, but you're going to click sign in with Google, and you can link it to their account. So once they get in, it's going to look like this, and you have a couple options. You can set up classes in here, and you can import from your Google Classroom or sync to Clever if you have Clever set up, or you can create a new class, and when you create that class, you give it a name, you can create an abbreviation and color, and then it'll give you a code, and the students will enter that code. So we'll just do a test class, 2-letter, pick a color, and then you can add students if you want to link it. You can create the accounts, or you can give this class code over here and they'll just add it as a join code. To create a formative up here, you're going to click new formative and it automatically will save. So I'm going to title this practice, and you can click an assignment type if you want to label them. And if you notice up here on the top, it says auto saved a few seconds ago. So as you don't have to worry about clicking anything, as you go, it's going to save. If you've been looking closely, there's things with stars. Those are premium features if you want to pay extra. I've done fine without it, but I'm sure there's people who would love it. You can click this plus button to get started. And like I said, anything that's grayed out with a star isn't an option. You do get the option to enhance PDF, so I'm going to go ahead and try this. You can go from Google Drive or upload a file. There's a ton of different types of resources. So if you are interested in, or if you're only doing one subject, like if you're only doing math, if you're only doing ELA or history, it's going to apply to your content area. You'll just use a different type of question than other areas would. And it does take a minute to load. And then once it loads, if you use a PDF, you can embed the question. So you'll click where it goes. So if you want them to read this first part and then you click here, you can add a multiple choice question to check their understanding. And you can add questions along the way. If you're choosing not to do a PDF, you can delete that question. And you can add other types. So you can do an essay question, a multiple choice, multiple selection, short answer, true, false. All of those, if it's multiple choice, multiple selection, true, false, it'll grade on its own. Show your work was my favorite when I was looking at a demonstration for this. If I was teaching math, you could put a problem in and they could work it on the screen here, and you could watch to show their work. You could even like put a map there and they could circle or label or draw. Any of that sort of thing. I do want to show you what the data looks like at the end. So once you're done here, you're going to hit back and you'll notice here it automatically saved. And I did try this plot practice, and here's this. I'm going to open, And I'm going to pause for a second so I can hide student names for FERPA. 1 second. Okay, so once you get in here, you're going to notice that up here, I did guest students. So after you're done doing the assignment, there's an edit. You can assign it with a guest code, which is what I tried. So students didn't have to have a user. They could just enter the code and then put their name in. The thing is, it didn't save. So once they exited, they couldn't go back and edit. If you have a class, they could go back in and change their answers or stop in the middle and come back later if you have lunch or something in the middle. They couldn't do that. But you'll notice right here, I could see right away, this kid got it, this kid didn't. And I could pull this up for students and say, you know, what are we thinking? What do we think? How are we doing? But I can see right away how students were doing. And you can hide names. There's a lot of functionality, a lot of things you can try. It's something you kind of just got to get in and play with, but hope it's something you can use.